Hare Krishna. Again, welcome to our Saturday morning Bhagavatam discussion. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Yashodanandana Yashodan Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Jai Govinda Jai Gopal Keshava Madhava Dina Dayal Jai Govinda Jai Gopal Keshava Madhava Jai Govinda Jai Gopal Keshava Madhava Dina Dayal Jai Govinda Jai Gopal Keshava Madhava Dina Dayal Prabhu Dina Dayal Prabhu Parama Dayal Dina Dayal Prabhu Dina Dayal Prabhu Parama Dayal Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Gopi Jana Vallabh, Radha Gopi Jana Vallabh Shri Radhe. Jaya Nitai Patita Pavan Gora Hare, Nitai Patita Pavana Gora Hare, Jaya. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Om Shubhada Paramahansa Parivraja Acharya Stotra Sutta Srimati Srimati Krishna Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Shri Hridas Thakur ki jai, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री श्री राधा गोपी जन वल्लभ गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, द्वारिकापुरी धाम की जय, अयोध्यापुरी धाम की जय, नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय, जगन्नाथ क्षेत्र पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र नीलाचल धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, समावेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण। All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Nitai Gaur Premanande. Upcoming Narsimha Chaturdasi Mahamahotsav ki jai. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, the status quo, Chapter 26. Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, verse number 17. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. We'll do the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shriyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललितान् श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरोभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे one more time hare krishna कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे one last time हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे completely dependent on your mercy no qualification or realization to sit here and discuss or share anything on Srimad Bhagavatam. On top of that, this is completely new verse. So it was my bad actually. I didn't pay attention yesterday. So thank you. 18, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, I texted 18.
Yeah, you did. But I somehow I don't know what happened and I.
Okay, we are a spontaneous class. Spontaneous. I'm waiting for your spontaneous outburst.
अंतपुरुषरूपेण कालरूपेण यो बहिः समन्वेत्येष सत्त्वानां भगवानात्ममायया अंतः पुरुषरूपेण कालरूपेण यो बहिः समन्वेत्येष सत्त्वानां भगवानात्ममायया अंतः पुरुषरूपेण कालरूपेण यो बहिः समन्वेत्येष तत्त्वानां भगवानात्ममायया अंतः पुरुषरूपेण कालरूपेण यो बहिः समन्वेत्येष सत्त्वानां भगवानात्ममायया अंतः पुरुषरूपेण कालरूपेण यो बहिः समन्वेत्येष सत्त्वानां भगवानात्ममायया
अंतःपुरुषरूपेण
कालरूपेण यो बहिः समन्वेत्येष सत्त्वानां भगवानात्ममायया अंतःपुरुषरूपेण Kala Rupena Yobahi. Samanvetesha Sattvanam. Bhagavan Atma Mayaya. Mataji's. Antapurusharupena Kalarupena Yogahi Samanveteshu Sattvanam Bhagavan Atma Mayaya. Anyone else? Antapurusharupena Kalarupena Yogahi Samanvetesha Sattvanam Bhagavan Atma Mayaya. Antaha within. Purusha Rupena in the form of super soul. Kala Rupena in the form of time. Yaha he who. Bahi he bahi without. Samanveti. Shri Radha Gopi Chandra Bhagavan ki. Hari ki. Prabhupada ki. Samanveti exists. Eshaha he. Sattvanam of all living entities. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Atma Mayaya, by his potencies. Translation and purport by his divine grace. Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki. By exhibiting his potencies, the Supreme Personality of Godhead adjusts all these different elements, keeping himself within as the super soul and without as time. I'll read it again. By exhibiting his potencies, the Supreme Personality of Godhead adjusts all these different elements, keeping himself within as the super soul and without as time. Here it is stated that within the heart, the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides as the super soul. This situation is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. The super soul rests beside the individual soul and acts as a witness. This is also confirmed elsewhere in the Vedic literature. Two birds are sitting on the same tree of the body. One is witnessing and the other one is eating the fruits of the tree. The Purusha or Paramatma, who resides within the body of the individual soul, is described in Bhagavad Gita 13:23 as the Upadrashta, witness, and the Anumanta, sanctioning authority. The conditioned soul engages in the happiness and distress of the particular body given him by the arrangement of the external energy of the Supreme Lord. But the Supreme Living Being or the Paramatma is different from the conditioned soul. He is described in Bhagavad Gita as Maheshwar or the Supreme Lord. He is Paramatma, not Jivatma. Paramatma means the Supreme who is sitting by the side of the conditioned soul just to sanction his activities. The conditioned soul comes to this material world in order to lord it over material nature. Since one cannot do anything without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, he lives with Jiva soul as witness and sanction giver.
He is also bhokta. He gives maintenance and sustenance to the conditioned soul. Since the living entity is constitutionally part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord is very affectionate to the living entities. Unfortunately, when the living entity is bewildered or illusioned by the external energy, he becomes forgetful of his eternal relationship with the Lord. But as soon as he becomes aware of his constitutional position, he is liberated. The minute independence of the conditioned soul is exhibited by his marginal position. If he likes, he can forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead and come into the material existence with a false ego to lord it over material nature. But if he likes, he can turn his face to the service of the Lord. The individual living entity is given that independence. His conditional life is ended and his life becomes successful as soon as he turns his face to the Lord. But by misusing his independence, he enters into material existence. Yet, the Lord is so kind that as super soul, he always remains with the conditioned soul. The concern of the Lord is neither to enjoy nor to suffer from the material body. He remains with the jiva simply as sanction giver and witness so that the living entity can receive the results of his activities, good or bad. Outside the body of the conditioned soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead remains as the time factor. According to the Sankhya system of philosophy, there are 25 elements. The 25 elements already described, plus the time factor, make 24 elements described, plus the time factor, make 25. According to some learned philosophers, the super soul is included to make a total of 26 elements. So, if we read this purport, it's game over, right? Because it's so amazing. Prabhupada is so brilliant and amazing. Every opportunity he gets to share. And it's so pertinent when he said, my first canto is more than enough to take everyone back, come back to Godhead, because he's repeating and emphasizing the same point over and over again. We are here temporarily, we have minute independence, this is not the place where we want to be. Lord God is waiting for us, Krishna is waiting for us. And the way to go back to Him is to just recognize Him in our life and try to do the service in the humble mood, and we will be guided the path back home, back to Godhead. Such a simple and straightforward process, isn't it? But because of our, speaking for myself, my own selfish desires and wants, unnecessary, completely unnecessary needs, we continue to dwell here, going through birth, death, old age, and disease, body after body. And we kind of blame God or Krishna to put us into that situation. That's the height of the ungratefulness, so to speak. He's providing us everything. He's providing us even the ability to forget Him. Can you believe that? Imagine an employer employing you, giving you salary, furnishing everything what you need to execute your duty for him as well as for yourself. And at the end, that employer, you can disregard him. You don't give any, what do you call, credit for what we are having in our life. Such great, ungrateful human beings are there, or including myself, that only when I need, only when I want, I will recognize him. Such a um, such a pathetic situation, actually, so to speak. When the temple timings are there, we dress nicely and come for 1 or 2 hours, and then who knows what I'm doing? Only I know, or the near and dear ones around me would know. So I heard a very wonderful statement from one sadhu that one who is dedicated to God or Krishna, his external and internal behavior is the same. 100 people are watching or he is alone. He or she behaves the same way, that is bringing us closer to Krishna. That's the only way to behave. That's the only way to really make any significant spiritual advancement. And we can see so many amazing examples all around us. Regardless, there is one person on a Monday morning or Tuesday morning, or 10 people, 20 people on Saturday morning. Our Shyam Kishore Prabhu does his service without fail. All the others devotees also. So many amazing examples. So within this purport or whatever we have spoken, if anyone has anything to share, I'm happy to discuss on that. But last night we had a nice program with our Nishkinchan Nitai Prabhu, and since Narsimha Chaturdashi is coming up soon, there is a presentation I wanted to share. We have about 10 minutes, Prabhu. It's 8:51. So we'll quickly run through that, and I urge all the Bhakti Vriksha devotees. I'll share this PowerPoint presentation. It is prepared by the devotees in Pune. I was really impressed by the way how they approach the subject and make it available and relatable for those even without any backgrounds on Hiranyakashipu or Prahlad Maharaj. So I was really happy and to see, so I wanted to share that, as well as I request in your, all the preachers, all the devotees who like to share Krishna consciousness with others, even with new people, new joinees, they should share this with them in their own Bhakti Vrikshas. So would be really very wonderful. So I will quickly go there. Where is this? Sorry. There it is. Okay. Interesting. There it is. So dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So we all know the story. here Hiranyakashipu is doing tapasya for getting the boon and actually wants to destroy Lord Vishnu because his brother was killed by Lord Vishnu as a Varaha Bhagavan, and he wants to take a revenge. So the amount of tapasya or the penance that he has done, it is so strong that the scriptures describe only the bones were remaining. Everything else of the body, all the flesh, was eaten up by the ants and the termites in the jungle, in the forest. And he is, his name actually means, Hiranya means gold and Kashyapu means soft bed. So this person has done so much of austerity, and if you can see the picture, the heat that was generated by the power of penance, that everything was so hot. The temperature of the whole universe kind of changed. So there are two types of living entities. One is spiritual and material. This is a spiritual world where everything is orchestrated in the service of the Lord. And in the material world, as we discussed earlier, everything is about me and mine. Whatever is pertaining to me or um, pertaining to or in relationship to my body. So there was a nice point that we think that we want happiness for those who are related to me, but ultimately it kind of boosts my own ego that I made them enjoy, right? We want them happiness. We want happiness for them because it will eventually make me feel good that I did that. I made it happen. So that was a nice point brought in. So this is again Hiranyakashipu. These are the termites and ant hills. Lord Brahma is coming and giving him all the boons that he wanted. So the boons were, we all know, but just to summarize, he wants to be immortal, right? He doesn't want to be killed by anyone so that he can go and fight with Lord Vishnu and destroy Lord Vishnu because he's immortal. So he goes and asks, can I become immortal? So Lord Brahma says, even I cannot be immortal. I have to leave my body in due course of time. So I cannot give you that boon. So he uses his intelligence and try to get all the boons. Again, the Narsimha Chaturdasi is on May 4th. We have a wonderful program coming up with His Holiness Chandramouli Swami Maharaj, and all the devotees are requested to come. It starts around 5 o'clock. Please come. So Hiranyakashipu and Brahmaji comes and he awards him all kinds of boons. So this is the part that I really liked about this presentation, that comes up with the questions what you have done so far. So there is an engagement with the attendees. So we'll quickly go over. Why are we comparing atheistic scientists to Ravan, Kamsa, or Hiranyakashipu? We'll quickly take your answers. Whoever knows can raise their hand. Yeah, it could be, see, this is the beauty. It could be one, it could be all, or it could be none, or more than one. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. Okay, well, A and B, right? That's good one. Yep. We'll go to the next one. Hiranya means gold, Kashyapa means soft bed. How is Hiranyakashipu's mentality relevant today?
Yeah, first one.
One way is all at
Sounds like all of them.
Yes, it's all of them. Thank you. So once he gets all these boons, he makes, this is amazing, right? Hiranyakashipu took away the job of Varuna, wetting agent, dry agent Vayu, and heating agent Agni, and demanded the earth to produce fruits and flowers of his choice. So without plowing, without putting the seed, earth has to produce. That is the power of Hiranyakashipu. So then he reversed the results of pious and sinful people. Doing bad activities will give you good marks in Lord Hiranyakashipu's books. And then there are two types of people, spiritualist and materialist. One who has a faith in God are spiritual, and one who doesn't recognize the existence of God are materialistic. So Hiranyakashipu occupied the throne of heavenly king Indra after driving away Indra and other demigods. What do you infer from this? Good. You all are very learned, and I'm sure you all know much better than this, but I just wanted to present this so that we can get inspiration and share with how we can engage the, those who are attending our discourses or programs. What is the difference between materialist and a spiritualist?
We and we.
Yes, bro. Thank you.
Can you speak something about cheating? We are cheating. You are just giving the presentation. You didn't speak anything. You're very intelligently.
No, bro. I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Stop this. No, very intelligent.
Bro, I'm
Answer session going on.
no, bro. I spoke.
No, there's nothing to. 15 minutes you have to speak now. 12 minutes you have to speak. My strict order now. You have to speak. No, this is not fair.
Boss is very strict, Prabhu.
Okay. So
So can you stop the presentation right now? It's okay.
Stop this presentation.
We will circulate it, that's fine. But no, you have to speak something. You don't hear from you. What is it?
Prabhu, I'm a.
Okay, bro. So one thing here now, please.
Prabhu, I don't have anything to share actually.
No, what are you prepared? You prepared for another verse, not share that.
Basically that's what I prepared, Prabhu. I wanted to share this.
Okay, now content is here to speak. Until that you cannot get out there.
I have a question about the verse. Maybe Krishna. That's a wonderful.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes. Shyam Kishore Prabhu is here. He can help us. Please.
Keeping himself within as the super soul and without as time. As a relative newbie, I would love to hear a little on that correlation. Within is the super soul and without is time. Time which is beyond our linear, mundane conception of time. time a mysterious feature of human existence. And so I would love to hear something, Prabhu, on that relationship between inside Super Soul and without time.
Thank you. Very wonderful question. Just for everyone, Tom Prabhu would like to know how is in the verse that we just read correlation between the within as super soul and without as time. How these two phenomenon, and wants to know more about it. Thank you. So I'll share something, and please, Yogakshamam Vahamyam, Prabhu. Please add the what is lacking, and clear my understanding also. So my understanding is, Prabhu, when we want to enjoy separately from Krishna, there is really no reality beyond Krishna. So to facilitate that desire, Krishna has to create and manage and maintain and facilitate all that is needed to facilitate that desire. So Vishnu, in another meaning of Vishnu, is that one who maintains and holds everything also. So as Krishna and his expansions, well, Krishna doesn't directly get involved with material nature. He has expansions, and there are very wonderful explanations of how it all gets orchestrated. But to simplify, Krishna manages this material world because without his presence, even an atom cannot exist. So he has to be inside the atom and between the atom as well, just to make that one atom's existence. And what to speak of more complex combinations of other atoms and other living entities to exist separately from Krishna. So one time I heard a very nice class, and then the devotee was explaining that a living entity has a desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. And Krishna is saying, no, don't do that. You can't be happy without me. But that living entity is so adamant, then Krishna is running after him or her or that living entity, not gender wise, but we are so accustomed to categorize everything. So that it comes out as a, him or her. But at the same time, so Krishna kind of forces himself as a Paramatma to be with that Jiva. And also, as the living entities, all the other living entities has the Paramatma or the super soul. And also as I said, Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastha. Even in the atom and in between the atoms, is Krishna's presence is needed to sustain and to manifest and to exist as it is. And of course, there are rules applied. There is a time, kala, that every due course of time, based on the one's actions, that person is given that kind of body, and in that body they create another set of karma to continue to be in the material existence, or do that endeavor to go out of material existence and go back home, back to Godhead, to Krishna. So that is about super soul. Now about Kal, in Bhagavad Gita there is very wonderful verse, Kalosmin, that I don't know the Sanskrit, but paraphrasing it, the Krishna says, I am the time. I am that time that destroys everything in the due course of time. So because the whole material existence is orchestrated for our reforming. We have to be reformed. It is not, God is not someone who is judgmental, and because of our one action or one type of action for certain duration of time, we are going to eternally be suffering or eternally be enjoying, you know, without having any free will for ourselves, right? There is always a free will because we are part and parcel of God. That doesn't make us computers or machines. Because we are part and parcel of God, there is an added responsibility given to that living entity to make the right choice. And if we don't make the right choice, then what happens is Krishna has created this false playground where we think, Prabhupada writes so amazingly, the only reason we come here is to lord it over. Period. There is no other reason to lord it over, and that's the mentality continuously, being with us from time immemorial, going after one body to the other and creating our own set of karma. And Brahmanda Bhumite Kaun Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Kripa Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. That is the power of Srila Prabhupada and the devotees like him who really take or pick up a jiva or soul and put them at the lotus feet of Radha Gopijana Vallabh. Even the topmost realization of God as his own devotee form, Lord Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Ekatanu hai. And then they become one as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He, in his topmost ecstasy, in the last verse of Shikshastakam, he says, make me an atom at your lotus feet. Now, just think in the material sense, as an atom, how much independence or enjoyment one can have as an atom. Can we think of an atom to be enjoying, or anyone in material sense, will you have a desire to become an atom in any point? But that's what Mahaprabhu says. So just to be at the spiritual world and making yourself completely surrendered to Krishna's desire, that is the ultimate goal of life. And that is what he's kind of emphasizing on the mentality or the aspiration of a devotee or someone who wants to really be connected to Krishna. So Kal, because everything is time bound in the material sense, what we see is things come into existence and the due course of time, it dwindles and perishes. So we can only relate things in that sense. But because the inherent nature of the soul is permanent, we are Sanatan, we are always existing, no matter what happens to this material world. Either we are manifested or non-manifested form. And there is also one very wonderful explanation on that also, how it gets orchestrated or done. So Kal, if one surrenders to Krishna, there is a nice shloka in Bhagavatam also that gives us the explanation that rising of the sun and setting of the sun, all those who surrendered to me are going closer to their ultimate destination, and those who don't surrender, they are getting destroyed, they are getting taken out of that body and will be put into another body according to that karma. So because the material world has to function, so these are the different, like 5 main elements in the in material world to exist, which is super soul, Kala, Prakriti, and and karma, the activities associated with. So, with if we see it closely, anything that is happening is the combination of these five things. We can boil down to any activity, anything based on these five main entities. And then other things actually facilitate or associate and have more of a deeper explanation for that particular activity to happen. So, kal or time is a must for the material world to function. And then Krishna represents as a Kal. In one sense, everything is what we see or encounter is Krishna or Krishna's energy in one shape or form. But to material world to function, and time is the known factor or the needed factor. Spiritual world, time is there, but it is not binding. It is not like, okay, it's 9 o'clock, you should go to sleep. If Krishna wants to sleep, 9 o'clock will happen, the sun will go down. Krishna wants to wake up, sun will come up. And sun is actually not needed, but just to, we don't need light actually, because Krishna is self-effulgent. But the time is not really binding or the factor that is going to regulate the spiritual world. Here, time is regulating everything. Time is making sure things are going into the right order. And right order meaning just the time, not that you don't do anything and by the time we will all go back to Godhead. No, that is not, that is a misconception that is being spread by so many. Oh, jab tumhara time aayega, whenever the time comes, you become devotee. Whenever the time is there, you will take up Krishna consciousness or you start serving. That is not the right philosophy. Our endeavor is so important. Karma. And knowing the fact, those who don't know and do some mistake has a different kind of punishment. But knowingly ignoring is even more stricter punishment. So time is that factor. And that's how we correlate between the super soul and time. So both are facilitating our endeavors here to go back to Krishna. So please, Prabhu, add something. No, Prabhu, add. You want to add to this?
Many thanks for.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
No, my question is, you mentioned that how, like, yeah, Krishna gave us so many things, and we take it for granted, and we're not grateful. So I was thinking that the root cause of the problem is that we are not able to enjoy Krishna enjoying. So if I'm not there, then it's not relevant to me. For your enjoying, it's not relevant to me. I mean, we can relate somewhat, like, okay, we can relate with DBs a little bit because we're here. But then, especially in the case of devotees, in the case of other things, if someone is successful, if someone enjoys, if someone is glorified, someone achieves, someone gets mercy, okay, yeah, but I mean, don't really, not even, I mean, speak for myself, really not able to relish that happiness of, them, being successful or, really deeply able to relish that Krishna is enjoying, Krishna is happy. So, how to develop this mood, to develop this thing that Krishna is enjoying, devotees are enjoying, deeply relish that feeling, so that otherwise it just becomes about, even Krishna consciousness is about, me, my preaching, my seva, my sadhana, me, everything all the time. So if someone else is coming, well, sorry, I'm not interested, why? Because of no use to me. How to come out with it?
So our Shyam Kishore Prabhu is sharing that how to come out of the mentality uh, of me and mine and my service, my sadhana, and not able to relish the service itself and to give happiness to Krishna or his devotees. How I can really relish that um, uh, that that service itself, just being in that mood of being happy and really content. So whatever I've spoken today or uh, sharing with you all, I really have no adhikar to speak actually. Um, and I'm just repeating, trying to share or read off of what I've heard. Uh, the I was just listening. I was just thinking about the same topic, Prabhu, on the other day. That when Rupa Goswami says that I should have thousands of tongues and thousands of ears to hear the Mahamantra. And when I'm chanting, I'm really dragging myself to finish that round or finish that mantra. How long or how much time I have to spend. So it is the difference in the consciousness. Obviously, we all agree to that. That my service is the ultimate reality that is going to carry me um, or improve my consciousness over the time. That firm conviction has to be there. And you all are such a uh, brilliant example of the same, that so dedicated, so wonderful in your service. And to continue the process with that firm conviction is the only way to improve our consciousness, to relish the service itself. Because in our conditioned state, where we come from is always center of universe is me. What's in it for me? W, I, what is the FM? For me. What one devotee was sharing very nicely. What's in it for me? WIIFM. All right? We are all dialed into that frequency. What's in it for me? So to come out of that is to see everything in connection to Krishna, and it's all theoretical what I'm speaking. I have no realization, nothing, because just to just to come out of that mentality is to see everything in relationship to Krishna and continue the process very strongly, very sincerely in the association of loving devotees. Like, they mean service, they mean what they speak, and their actions are following their words. That's what I would like to share. Prabhu. If you want to add, or anyone, Prabhuji, please share something. Please, Prabhu. Anyone else would like to add anything to the points that we made, or any other new points to share?
I think it's natural at a neophyte stage to be in that kind of perception, and naturally, as one makes advancement and one stops, because then one's kind of internally like to achieve whatever you wanted to achieve the goal of Krishna play someone. So then naturally he does not have that anchoring anymore in that, I need to achieve that. And I guess until one has achieved, it's like a simple example, like for example, if you have some homework left to do, like any child if you ask, you have some homework left to do, wherever he or she feels it's the homework only. I have to homework, I have to homework. So once homework is done, then it's like, okay, I'm done, I'm free now for the rest of the day. If someone who has done their homework, someone who's hard to purify, so they're like, okay, I can help others, I can help people. Those new fights, like, it's unfortunate.
Thank you, Prabhu. So Prabhuji is sharing that for those devotees on Zoom, he's saying that, answering or adding to the question that he asked, that in the neophyte stage it is very obvious that we don't have that taste, that inclination to do service. But once we um, firm our understanding that this is what is really needed for me to improve, an example is given as a student. If we have homework left, then wherever we, our consciousness is to finish that homework as soon as possible. And wherever we do, wherever we go, whatever we do, we remember my homework, my homework, my homework, or that could be compared to any other thing that is a priority hanging over our head. Somebody lost a job, somebody is going to lose a job. All those things that they can think of is that to finish that task. The same way, our goal or our consciousness should be geared towards really become more serious about our bhakti, and that will eventually bring us to a point where we can really relish our service. So thank you again. Yes, Mataji.
I just wanted to add, jump into this question. The answer he himself said in many classes that having a very good, well-wishing friend is very helpful. When we are on our low days, they will be there to support. And many examples in my own life. Yesterday, Bhakti cooking, cleaning, coming back from work, it was so tiring. I'm not sure who will turn up or who will not come. So one may come, and there's five may come. It's so hard, especially for Mataji's planning and cooking and all that. So my Prabhu also was feeling a little down day. So I was just trying to help him by saying that we beat one or none. We have gone through this many places, through many places of preaching. So I said one or none. But if we just share with the same, I said I will sit and listen to what you're going to say, and God
Amazing.
will be there. So you just go ahead because that act of yours is going to be a good day, and that is our family business. And that will for sure will please Krishna. So by just sharing that, he felt happy. Okay, I just have to speak now. It doesn't matter if one is sitting or ten is sitting, or who show up or not. And in similar situation when I was very my first Vrindavan Yatra in '86, and I was standing with another devotee, and Maharaj came straight to her, asked how was the yatra. I was literally right next to her. He did not even give a glance to me. And before the yatra, there was like 10 days of classes in the temple on what is Vrindavan Dham. So every class I attended, and I didn't even know there is a place called Vrindavan. Coming from south,
Wow.
we only knew Vrindavan Gardens in Mysore. I don't even know that a place exists. So with that hearing, there was so much. I want to go for this one. And Vishakha Mataji, they all put the tickets and they just took me with them. But I was standing next to her, and Maharaj was just giving full attention to this one friend of mine. And Maharaj left, he didn't even acknowledge a physical presence of mine. And I felt very hurt internally that Maharaj didn't even glance at me. But I was very happy that I hugged my friend and we just twirled around. And when we stopped, Maharaj went a few feet and he just turned and just looked at me. He gave a big smile.
Hare Krishna.
So those affirms again and again that when we take pleasure um, in devotees' achievements.
Amazing.
And, I'm not really reciprocates. And
Amazing.
this for sure. It's just the time that a little bit more we have to wait.
Amazing.
Sorry.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, Mataji shared very wonderful point that when we take happiness or be happy for someone else's getting mercy, Lord within our heart, the same super soul manifested in Maharaj's heart kind of confirms that yes, you did the right thing. So thank you. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that. So we'll end it here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय प्रभुपाद की